why hiring a financial advisor will probably make you more money. What? What? Josh, you're the index guy. You love John Bogle. Yeah, I do, 100%. That doesn't mean that you being an index guy are going to outperform a financial advisor necessarily. In fact, I'll show it right here. Now, that doesn't mean you should go run out right now and hire a financial advisor. It doesn't mean anything like that. It just means sometimes there's absolute justification for paying a financial advisor's fee. Even if it's an asset under management fee relationship, you're paying 1% of your portfolio. 100%. And I'm going to prove it to you now. And by the way, I got tons of guys I know in my field that are freaking crushing it for their clients, even though they're charging 1%. I like creative planning. Creative planning does great work, man. Big fan of creative planning. Know a bunch of, well, not a bunch. I guess I do know a bunch of guys that work there, and they're just doing great work. Tons of registered investment advisors, smaller firms, you know what I'm saying? I know, and they're doing great work for their clients too. 100%. Now, should that mean you just run out and find the first freaking Joe Snuffy that says, I'm a registered investment advisor? No. But there are many financial advisors who are charging asset-based fees who are doing great work for their clients. Just the fact. It's kind of like people say, I'll never hire a financial advisor. The same people say, I'll never buy an annuity. I'm like, okay. Or I'll never even look at the concept of reverse mortgage. And I hear this all the time because people on the bogle heads, they're like, we know everything. We know. I'm like, do you? Do you? Okay. Anyway, so let's go. This is from Center for Retirement Research. They just published this September 16th. What stock allocations do advisors suggest, and does it impact clients? Our recent research suggests that older retirement investors tend to be overly pessimistic when it comes to stocks. Using survey data, we explore how financial advisors can help with stock allocations. And our results show that for investors with average risk tolerance, advisors tend to recommend higher allocations than investors prefer. But this advice is likely beneficial as it reflects advisors' more accurate assessment of markets. 100%. Clients tend to be overly pessimistic. Absolutely. Now, this is the stuff that we pay the big bucks for the Center for Retirement Research for. I'm laughing because we don't pay anything. We don't pay the big bucks for the Center for Retirement Research to study why a black trans woman in a wheelchair is doing worse financially than a white, straight Christian man who runs marathons. We don't pay big bucks for that because that's just silly. But yet that's what the Center for Retirement Research and all these woke people were doing over the last basically 10 years, since the St. George Floyd thing. Probably even before that. Probably starting with the hands up, don't shoot with this silly Michael Brown stuff, which is all a lie. I just praise the Lord that, thank you, Lord, for having Trump win. And I know Trump, God doesn't, I get it. I mean, I do not think God says, Trump, you're my man. I don't think that happens at all. But I just thank the good Lord that we have sensibility in the White House now, because under Biden, it was getting bad, dude. It was getting bad with the woke crap, because Biden didn't know what he's doing. I mean, Biden was a racist pig from the 70s in Delaware, basically a southern state at that stage. Even to look at Biden, he was a racist pig, and he's always been. But his people he put around him were freaking commie Marxist pigs. And as such, that's the people who are running the show. A lot of them are from the Obama administration. And it's just, you can't sustain that for generations. You can't, or else you'll go to Venezuela. And thankfully, Trump won. I cannot tell you the bullet we dodged. And I thought Kamal was going to win. I did. All right, so anyway, we're just going to cut to the chase. We're going to come down here, and we're going to show you. So these people interviewed a bunch of advisors, I think like 1,000 advisors. Yeah, right here. The investor survey questioned 1,016 retirement investors aged 48 to 78 with at least $100,000 in investments who are working with a financial advisor who's been around for over 3 years. And the results are right here. The baseline client, recommended stock allocation for the baseline client, and I think it's a certain age group too. It was a certain, I just can't remember. I think it was a certain age group, but let's see what it was. Clients age 50 plus. Yeah, it was age 50 plus. So people like me, old men. So the baseline client the financial advisors recommended was 48% of stocks. All right, recommended stock allocation for hypothetical retirement households. 18% seems pretty high if that's the overall portfolio standard deviation. If it's 48% stocks and 52% non-stocks, that seems pretty high. So I'm not sure if that's 18% solely for the stock proportion. I don't know, but it frankly doesn't matter. The client with a low risk tolerance had a 30% stock allocation with these advisors. Clients with increased guaranteed income, this is with the drawback, only had a 44% stock allocation. That was the one area that the advisors were not negligent, not the right word, not suspect, were bad advice in my opinion, but be it as it may. So anyway, you see client with low risk tolerance had a 30% allocation to stocks with the financial advisor. The baseline client had 48% allocation to stocks, but client with guaranteed income, the defined benefit pension plan had 44%. This should be higher than that actually, but I don't know what the right word is. It's not bad. It's not nefarious. It's just they're wrong, I guess. Just write the word. So anyway, check this out though. Recommended allocation or investors' desired allocation in survey. The low risk tolerance investor had a 29% desire for stocks, and yet the low risk tolerance advisor only gave him a 30% exposure to stocks. So it's just 1% higher than the low risk investors. It's not much. So they were basically mimicking the return expectation or the allocation expectation of a low risk advisor, a low risk client. So not much there. But here's the average risk tolerance for the investors in the financial advisor's realm was only 39%. The standard deviation, I'm not quite sure. So I'm not sure what that is. I'm not going to read into it because it doesn't matter that much, but it's interesting. But anyway, the average risk tolerance for the advisor was 48% that they were giving to their average risk tolerance. So the risk tolerance investor, they only wanted 39%. The average investor only wanted 39% stocks. The average investor with their advisor actually had 48% in stocks. A significant difference, man. That's a 30% increase in stock exposure. A 30% increase compounded over 5, 10, 15 years is a significant increase in wealth. Most likely, can't guarantee you that, most likely, which shows that the advisor is saying, I hear you, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but this. I know you want to be more conservative relative to stocks, but let me tell you why I think that's a mistake. And as such, they're able to convince their more conservative clients who are prone to be more conservative to be a little bit more aggressive. Not shooting for the freaking moon here, but absolutely saying we need to have more exposure to stocks. And that's proven to be a money-making scenario for the investor because the investor says, I want to be less aggressive. And the guy says, no, you should be more aggressive. And here's why. And on top of that, because the client can turn that money over to the advisor, it takes the burden of saying, man, I'm making a mistake. Because believe it or not, I know everyone wants to be, no. A lot of people are fearful of making a mistake, and that's okay. That's why I don't do it. Look, can you change a utility outlet right there? Sure. Electricians can do it 2 seconds flat. Could I do that? Sure. I got all kinds of electricity books. Do I want to? Hell no. I don't want to make a mistake and zap myself. I'm going to pay a guy to do that for me, 100%. Why? Because I don't want to kill myself. Or I don't want to screw something up and say, man, I should just pay somebody. You see what I'm saying? I'm not too manly to admit that. But other people can do it just like that. Not your old buddy Josh. I don't trust myself with that, especially electricity. It scares the living bejesus out of me. A lot of people are concerned they're going to screw something up. And so they turn over to a professional. We'll put them in a little bit more aggressive portfolio, and we'll make that feedback because the rates of return will be higher over the course of time. Most likely. I can't tell you going forward, but certainly in the past it has been. It's just fact. And even with a conservative portfolio, they're still a little bit more aggressive. Not much, 30% stocks to 29% stocks. But I would, and again, if you have a pension plan, I would absolutely make this 50% stocks, if not more. But that's too low for a guy with a pension plan. Or I'm not even sure if that can constitute Social Security or not either. But if a guy has a defined benefit pension plan and you're less aggressive stock-wise than a guy who doesn't, you should change that around. But at the end of the day, there are reasons your advisor can make you wealthier simply because they're going to be more prone to have you in stocks. Now, why are they doing that? Because they make more money on fees? Maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think any advisor out there wants their client to call them in the middle of the night and say, you lost me money. I wanted to be 39%. You had me 48%. I want my money back. It's my money and I want it now. Advisors don't operate like that. They don't operate like, man, look, most advisors, at least, and I've been in this business a long ass time, pardon my French, since 1998. Most advisors I know don't operate like I'm trying to make every single penny I can for my client, all risk, screw risk. Not like that at all. They're like, I want to have a good defined portfolio that I can live with, have recommended to my client that gets them some growth without the significant drawdowns that we had in 2008, 2001, and 2. That's what most people do. That justifies my fee, by the way, because most advisors don't want to just freaking take you to their cleaners and not have any returns for it. I mean, some are, I get you, but anyway, that's something I'm talking about. So if you're looking at hiring an investment advisor, a financial advisor, and you're like, but everyone on YouTube says it's stupid. It's not stupid. It's just stop with hearing these people, man. These two hoity-toity, I'm so smart. I hate that crap, dude. I hate, because I've been in this business for a long time. I don't want to hear a word about annuities. I'm like, well, you're an idiot, man. You're an idiot. No, I've heard annuities are bad. I even had a guy on this channel, on my own YouTube channel, when I was talking about income annuities, say annuity fees are too high. I said, you don't even know what the hell you're talking about. You're just parroting some idiot out there that says annuities are bad. It's just idiotic. I guarantee this guy has all index funds. He's like, yeah. I said, you got durable power of attorney? I guarantee he does not. Do you got an umbrella policy on your insurance? Okay. Because a lot of people just, they think financial planning is investment management. It's just so much more than that. It drives. And of course, we've done it to ourselves by basically charging a fee for investment management and throwing financial planning as a secondary service. And this is a primary service. Hey, I love you. I'll put a link in the show notes if you want to read the study. God bless. We'll see you.